Hello everyone! You know, we're so blessed living here in Vegas. There's over 5,000 restaurants. Makes it pretty hard to get bored, especially when you have so many great choices. I've lived all across the country, and I honestly feel that we have the greatest collection of Chinese restaurants anywhere, seemingly one better than the next. It appears our cup runneth over, with our traditional Chinatown bursting at the seams with wonderful Chinese restaurants. A new pocket of restaurants has emerged to our south and west. Some have become calling this new center of Chinese cuisine the second Chinatown. With this intense competition, if you want to succeed in Vegas, you have to really be on your game. Today, we're reviewing a restaurant many call the best, just 15 minutes from the Strip in the heart of this second Chinatown. This place is a real doozy. We were here for lunch, and you can order dim sum as well as main course dishes. We decided today to get a mixture of both dim sum as well as the more traditional main course Chinese dishes, and found many from each category were simply mind-blowing. Rainbow Kitchen opened in early 2020. It was an ill-fated launch, as 8 days later all businesses were forced to close. However, despite the disadvantaged start, they've become quite a success. You know, they say the cream always rises to the top. Well, Rainbow Kitchen is right up there with some of the best Chinese restaurants in Vegas. Before we begin, I want to remind you to please like, subscribe, comment, and join our VIP club for some great members-only perks. I started off with the Jasmine Tea. This is not your average tea in your average Chinese restaurant. It's been hand-selected by the owner in China and rivals any tea I've tasted anywhere. The only tea I've ever enjoyed this much was at tea time at the Beverly Hills Hotel back in the 80s. It was called gunpowder tea, and I've been looking for it for the last 40 years since the first time I tried it. Today, I found something comparable in the Jasmine Tea. One of the unique aspects of this tea is the pots they import from China, which allow you to choose the brewing level of the tea. We were told they cost 10 times more than a regular teapot, but they're so worth it. It's heated from below with a small candle, and when you lift the lever, it stops brewing the tea. So when your tea is strong enough, raise it up and voila, it's done. I, for one, like my tea as bitter as an angry old man, so I kept the lever down the entire time. Okay, so where to begin with this roasted pork? The owner, Ben Chang, is from Hong Kong and knows his barbecued meats. This is without a doubt one of the best versions of roasted pork I've ever had in a Chinese restaurant. Perfectly roasted Lechon-style pork with moist, tender, fresher than fresh pork flavor. There was absolutely no gamey taste to this roasted meat, just a wonderful, tender, and juicy texture bursting with umami flavor. Nice and salty in a good way, and the skin was beautifully crispy and crunchy, just as it should be, adding a wonderful textural contrast to the supple, toothsome pork meat. Served with hoisin sauce and a wonderful light and refreshing daikon radish slaw on the side. It's sweet and tangy. An incredible execution of this dish. Definitely a Rainbow Kitchen home run on this one. Though honey walnut shrimp was originally thought to have been invented in Hong Kong, honey walnut shrimp's popularity really caught on here in the United States in the 80s, and it's one of the most loved dishes by both Asians and Westerners. The sauce is usually a combination of sweetened condensed milk, honey, and lemon. Let me start by saying the prawns here are beautiful. They're huge, and the breading is very light, crispy, and airy. I've rarely ever seen a more beautiful honey walnut shrimp in texture. However, they could have been a tad sweeter for my liking. The honey walnut sauce fell a little short of my expectations. In fact, I was tempted to sprinkle on a packet of sugar to make up for the lack of honey I thought they needed to bring them from a 9.5 to a 10. And I might have if nobody were looking. Still, they're up there with some of the best I've ever had, and I would surely order them again. But ask for them to be a little sweeter next time. These crispy, salty dumplings took us for an express one-way ticket ride to Flavor Town. These, as we call them, little footballs, rival any of the best I've ever had at any dim sum house anywhere. They're up there for one of our soon-to-be Best of China dim sum videos. Look at how crispy these are. The skin is bubbly, but the interior is perfectly glutinous without being doughy. These dumplings are filled, and I mean completely filled, with rich porky goodness, as well as garlic and garlic chives. I can't say enough good things about these crispy, salty dumplings. Usually when I have these, there's always something that seems to be out of balance with the textural contrast, either too gummy and glutinous, or an overly crispy outer shell, and almost always an underfilled interior. But here, they were perfection. I can't imagine how they could be any better made. Get these. You're going to love them. After the stupendous highs of the previous dish, we were greatly looking forward to the pan-fried noodles. I don't know where to begin with these. Right off the bat, the smell was kind of revolting, like rotting fish in an old Chinese market. The noodles and sauce themselves were both okay. The crispy fried golden pasta was perfect, wonderful texture. But here's where the fairy tale ends and the nightmare begins. It was described to us by our server as a mixture of seafood and meat, but it was not. It had just a few pieces of barbecue pork, teeny tiny bits of beef, and shrimp. The rest was fish, and an unpleasant fishy tasting fish at that. It also contained calamari that was almost inedible and had the texture of thick rubber bands. This would be a good dish if you're trying to strengthen your jaw muscles. The fish overpowered the entire dish and the barbecue pork lost all its flavor. Even the shrimp was diluted and purged of the usual beautiful shrimp flavor. The entire dish was drowned with the taste of the fish. I've mentioned before that I, for the most part, stopped ordering this dish in Chinese restaurants because it's always incorrectly prepared. Taste Restaurant made some of the best I've ever had. Eating it renewed my faith, and that's why I took a chance and ordered it here at Rainbow. After this horrible experience, I doubt I'll rush out to order this dish anywhere else in this town other than Taste. If you like crispy Hong Kong-style noodles, check out our Taste video. Well, given the overall quality of everything at Rainbow, I have to imagine this fish issue was an anomaly. However, I can only convey to you what was placed before us this day. And I'm sorry to say that today, this dish was a disaster. Okay, with that unpleasantness behind us, time for an unusual yet tremendous truffle treat. These are again one of the best little dumplings I've ever eaten. The truffles are real shaved truffles, not just truffle oil, and they impart a superb flavor into the shrimp filling. It's a marriage made in heaven, and you can tell that the quality of the prawns is outstanding. I made my unusual secret sauce I make when I go to dim sum, soy sauce, vinegar, and chili oil. But to be honest, these are so good on their own, they don't need anything else. In fact, I found my sauce only muddied the flavor. I prefer these dumplings pristine and pure with a rich aromatic truffle flavor. We both love truffles, and if you do too, then this infusion of truffle and shrimp in a Chinese dumpling is going to be a dream come true and a must-try dish. Mongolian beef has become our barometer dish because I judge most Chinese restaurants on their execution of this magnificent recipe. P.F. Chang's nailed this recipe in the 90s and brought it to new heights of popularity. However, here, this dish lacked wok hai, also known as the breath of the wok. This phenomenon takes place when a well-seasoned hot wok gives the food a magnificent, almost maniacally charred flavor. I think of Mongolian beef as a dish that wok hai is a necessity to make, so that it tastes as it should. One of our favorite all-time dishes. However, here it tastes more like a Szechuan beef with its sweet sautéed onions and sugary, spicy red chili sauce, and therefore I felt missed the mark. I'm not saying it's horrible. In fact, it was quite delicious. But is it truly Mongolian beef? Not to me. It lacks that magnificent charred wok burnt flavor. This makes the soft velveted beef mimic a fabulous filet mignon. Mongolian beef is usually marinated in oyster sauce, soy, garlic, and brown sugar, then seared in a wok or on a grill that's hotter than the face of the sun and continually stirred to give it that magic flavor. Besides lacking this wok hai flavor, there's not enough green onions in this dish, and some crispy cellophane noodles would have been a big improvement. Cashew chicken was first made here in America by Chinese immigrants around the time of the gold rush and has remained popular among Chinese and Westerners alike. Today, here at Rainbow, it was a great dish. Thinly sliced velveted chicken, so clean and fresh and overflowing with rich umami flavor. Just the right amount of garlic and onion to give it that boost of flavor and play off the cashews. The transparent sauce that enveloped the entire dish was smooth, flavorful, and silky. The cashew had a wonderful charred taste that really gave a nutty flavor to the whole dish. I love the burnt seared red peppers that give the cashew chicken a wonderful smokiness. The green peppers, celery, onions, and carrots were also a great addition to the entire package flavor-wise. However, the amount of celery and onion was probably used as a filler, and there were way too many of them in this dish. I understand times are hard and people need to stretch their budgets these days, but the dish was overtaken by veggies. Even so, I did enjoy this dish. The Kung Pao Chicken, while a good dish, was lacking in the same way as the Mongolian Beef. It just missed the mark by the deficiency of the wok hai. This dish tasted as though it were made in a Teflon pan. There are so many places in Vegas that make this dish as close to the famed Madame Wu's. SK Seafood, BBQ King, both have some of the best I've ever tasted. Was Rainbow's terrible? No, but it lacked those elements that define what it means to be a good Kung Pao chicken. A charred red pepper flavor would have brought it to a higher caliber. It was also a little on the sweet side for my taste buds. This dish paled in comparison to the spicy house chicken we'll be discussing in a few minutes. That dish far surpassed my expectations and rivaled almost any other chicken dish I've ever tasted. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. The Kung Pao contained all the right ingredients, peanuts, peppers, soy, and umami, but didn't have that magical wok hai flavor it needed to take it over the top. Turnip Cake with XO sauce. This is one of those dishes with such wide variation across the many Chinese restaurants we visited. XO sauce is usually made from coarsely chopped dried seafood such as shrimp or scallops. It's rich in the flavor it derives from the sautéed toasted garlic, chili peppers, and onions. A good XO sauce rarely tastes fishy. If well balanced, the predominant taste should be a deep umami flavor. Here at Rainbow, wow, what a dish! This is so good, it could convert a meat eater into being a vegan. Well, maybe not. But it's a wonderful flavor-packed delight. I think this may have been the standout dish. So much flavor. The turnip cakes are some of the best I've ever had. Crispy exterior, not at all fishy. Many of the turnip cakes made at Vegas dim sum houses are way too fishy. Over the top fishy. And that means they've overdone it with the shrimp paste. I don't taste anything but the wonderful flavor of the turnips, and these remind me of a delicious crispy potato pancake. The XO sauce is a punch of garlic, spicy chili, and garlic oil, right in the face, and it's a powerful treasure trove of flavor. I'd be happy just eating these little flavor bombs and nothing else. I'm definitely coming back for these outstanding treats, and I highly recommend them. Most people think sweet and sour chicken is an American dish because of its huge popularity and wide prevalence, even at lower level discount type restaurants. However, few people realize that this dish originally was created in China and is an authentic Cantonese favorite. Sweet and sour chicken has been loved by many people old and young all over the world for centuries. Though I enjoyed this dish here, it was more on a level of a Panda Express than that of a Chinese fine dining establishment. The best version of this dish was perhaps made by the great Sylvia Wu of Madame Wu's fame. I found similar preparations in our Chinatown. SK Seafood used to have the best, but they too have succumbed and greatly increased the amount of onions in the dish to overcome rising costs in the past few years. The chicken at Rainbow was cut into huge, deep-fried, moist chunks. The breading wasn't too thick, it was nice and thin. The sauce was, again, on the sweet side, but passable to be satisfying. It would have been better if the sauce had more vinegar and less sugar. The chicken chunks were crispy with almost a charred red pepper and subtle bitter orange rind flavor in the background. Though not the best sweet and sour I've ever eaten, we did enjoy it. We also loved the mustard here at Rainbow. It really paired well with the sweetness of the chicken and helped to tame the sugary sweetness and make it more palatable. We were unsure about the spicy house chicken, but decided to see what this dish was all about. Well, one bite, and time and space ceased to exist, and I felt rocketed into another dimension. This is perhaps one of the best chicken dishes I've ever tasted anywhere in any Chinese restaurant. It's got the depth of flavor that any spicy chicken dish should have, but surpasses it by a long shot in the taste department. Look at this beautiful deep red velveted chicken, stir-fried to perfection with Szechuan peppercorns and spicy red chilies. I can't even begin to guess what all is in this spectacular dish that makes it so amazing and sets it apart from anything I've ever tasted because it's so well balanced that no one spice stands out. It's not crazy spicy, just enough to wake up all your senses and make you wonder why you've never eaten anything quite like this dish before. The unique flavor of this recipe is unrivaled. There was some stiff competition today, but the Spicy House Chicken won the prize for the standout dish here at Rainbow Kitchen. I'm already planning my return visit to experience this amazing dish once more, and highly recommend you give it a try as well. From dizzying highs to tragic lows, we experienced it all at Rainbow Kitchen. Overall though, we really enjoyed ourselves. For the most part, delicious food. There were a few negatives, such as a lack of wok hai in the Mongolian beef and the Pao Chicken, and one tragic fail with the pan-fried noodles. But the high points were stupendous. The crispy fried pork, the truffle dumplings, the crispy salty dumpling, and of course, the two standout dishes of the day, the turnip cake and the Spicy House Chicken. These two dishes alone are enough to bring us back, and we can't wait to return to experience them once again. Make sure to order those. In addition, the staff was attentive and friendly, and Bill, the owner, was very nice. He takes the time to wander through the dining room to chat with everyone. It's a nice touch. Finally, there was a strange disinfectant fee of $1 that appeared on our bill. It was a little off-putting. I always found it better for the prices to include the cost to operate your restaurant, rather than singling out an additional fee for something which applies to everyone, especially for something we all assume happens at every restaurant. One final thought. Based on the few dim sum plates we tried, and examining the many others offered to us, I'd venture to say this place would be a great restaurant to come for dim sum, possibly surpassing their entrees. We'll be back sometime in the near future to further investigate this other side of Rainbow Kitchen. Who knows, maybe we'll see you there, and make sure to tell them Let's Eat Vegas sent you. I know we're all guilty of watching YouTube videos and not participating. As a reminder, please like, comment, subscribe, or even become a VIP member to our channel. It means a lot to us, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit!